Hey third grade, welcome back. Today we're going to read our story, Butterflies Big and Small. First we're going to review our vocabulary words together and then we'll get started. So let's go ahead and take a look at these words quickly. You already wrote about them yesterday in our video, so you know what these words mean now. Decrease means to become less or make smaller. Extinct means that it is no longer alive. Preserve means to keep safe from harm. Measure means to use a tool to find out the size of something. Surroundings are all of the things that are around you. And future means a time that has not yet come. So we'll be using these words to help us understand the story and listening for them. Today I will be reading the story from two different books. It says if you have the circle book, I'm going to be reading from it first. And if you have the book with the square and the diamond at the bottom, I'll be reading from it next. So before we read, I did want to make sure that everybody had a chance to review the vocabulary words on their own on the pages before the story. We talked about them quickly together, but make sure you do these on your own. And I'm going to read from the circle book first, but before I start, I wanted to tell everybody that this story is an informational text. And you'll see at the top of your story where it says expository. Those mean the same thing. Expository is a genre of text that teaches you about new or important facts or topics. So informational text is going to be nonfiction. We're reading it to learn new things. So let's keep that in mind today as we read. Now, if you are in my group with the circle book, you can go ahead and open your page. Our story starts on page 44. If you are in the group with the square or diamond at the bottom, you can fast forward, and when you see me holding this up again, you'll know it's time to listen for your group's story, okay? All right, so let's get started with the circle group book first. Okay. Our story today is Butterflies Big and Small. So our question we're thinking about is how we can learn about animals and respect them. We're going to read how respecting butterflies helps them to survive. So, what can we learn about butterflies that will help them to stay alive? Okay. And I love that this is an expository text, and I can tell that because there are real photographs. Someone did not paint these pictures or draw these pictures themselves. These were taken with a real camera. Another way I know this is expository is there are some text features. So I see some labeling, I see some sentences that tell us more about the pictures. I see a map. So this expository text has a lot of good text features we'll look at together. All right, so let's get started. You can follow along in your book at home. There are more than 725 species or kinds of butterflies in the United States and Canada. These fascinating creatures taste leaves with their feet. They only see the colors yellow, red, and green. The monarch butterfly and the western pygmy blue butterfly share these traits, but they are also different in many ways. Okay, that blue word species, it tells you exactly what it means right after. It says there are more than 725 species or kinds of butterflies. So sometimes if you see a word you don't know, keep reading. The other words in a sentence might tell you what they mean. That's called using your context clues. Read the other words around it in the sentence to help you figure out the meaning of that word. Size and color. The western pygmy blue butterfly is the smallest butterfly in the world. It is about a ½ inch across. That's smaller than a dime. Think how small a dime is. Monarch butterflies are much bigger. They are about 4 inches across. Wow. Monarch butterflies are different from pygmy blues in other ways too. Monarch butterflies are bright orange with black markings. Pygmy blue butterflies are brown and blue. So this story is telling some ways they're alike and some ways that they are different. So you might want to think about if you have something to measure with at home. If you have a tool, you could see how much ½ inch is to see how big the pygmy blue butterfly is, and you could see how much 4 inches is. So you could see the difference in their sizes. Let's take a look at the captions. The captions are the words that tell about the picture. It says, monarch butterflies like to land in the same trees when they migrate. Now, migrate is a good word we've learned from science, and we talk about it a lot in like the fall and winter, because that's when animals are moving to find new homes. So migrate means to move from one place to another. So some animals, they can't stay alive if it gets cold. So in the fall, lots of birds will migrate south. It means they move from here to the south where it's warmer so they can stay alive. And then when it's spring here, they can come back because it's warmer. So it's saying that the monarch butterflies like to land in the same trees when they're migrating or when they're moving. And this diagram shows the parts of the western pygmy blue butterfly. So you can see where it's pointing to their wing, their antenna, head, thorax, leg, and abdomen. Let's read. Moving around. Almost all butterflies migrate or move to different areas. The monarch migrates the longest distance of any butterfly. Many monarchs travel more than 3,000 miles. The western pygmy blue butterflies migrate short distances. Both monarchs and pygmy blues migrate. Butterflies are cold-blooded insects. They are hot when the weather is hot. They are cold when the weather is cold. As a result, monarch butterflies, which live in areas that get cold during winter, migrate south to stay warm. Western pygmy blues fly north to find food. Wow. So this map, it says butterfly migration. The orange part shows how the monarch butterflies fly down south, and the blue arrow shows how the western pygmy blues go up north to find food. So it matches exactly what the text is telling us. Okay. This part says finding food. The western pygmy blue drinks the nectar of flowers. It easily finds the sweet, thick liquid, so its population has grown. Oh, so that means there are more pygmy blue butterflies now because it's easy for them to find flowers. Both pygmy blue butterflies and monarch butterflies sip nectar. So nectar is like the juice inside of the flower. But the monarchs have one main food, the milkweed. They need this plant to live. When people build houses and roads, there are fewer places for milkweed to grow. If the monarch cannot find milkweed, its population will decrease. And we know decrease means to get smaller. So if they can't find enough milkweed plants, then there won't be as many. There will be a smaller number of monarch butterflies. This part says help butterflies. People need to preserve butterfly habitats. And we know preserve means to keep safe from harm, so we need to help keep the butterfly home safe. How can people help? They can work to change the laws. they can plant milkweed. They can make it illegal to destroy animal habitats. So that means we shouldn't go and ever hurt the homes of animals. It is important to learn about butterflies and what they need to survive. People need to protect butterflies and their habitats. Then there will be many western pygmy blue and monarch butterflies in the future. We know future means it's a time that hasn't happened yet. So we hope that in the future there will still be both kinds of butterflies flying around. Here's a picture with a caption. It says monarch butterflies eat milkweed. So this is a picture of the milkweed plant that they like to land on. And this picture says this western pygmy blue butterfly stops to eat. So you can see they both like flowers, but the monarch butterfly really likes the milkweed plant the best. It's what it needs to eat and to lay its eggs. So here are some questions for you to think about. How can people learn to respect butterflies? And the next question is something you're actually going to be writing about this week. So tomorrow on day 3, you read the story again and try to read it out loud to somebody in your house, a parent, your brother or sister, your pet, your stuffed animal, anybody who will listen to you read. And then there are some questions for you to answer. Okay, there's 3 questions. When you find the answer in your book, underline it to show you're using your text evidence. And then on day 4, you're going to be writing ways that these 2 butterflies are alike and ways they are different. So go back in your book and look for 3 ways these butterflies are the same and 3 ways they are different. If you do not have this paper, if you cannot print it off your computer at home, remember you can use any paper that you have. And you can write 3 ways they're alike on the top, 3 ways they're different on the bottom. All right. Make sure after that you get to watch the next virtual field trip. The link is in the email I sent your parents. Make sure you write about it either on this paper or your own paper at home. Have your parents sign each day. Take a picture of this. Email it to me at the end of the week. And email all of the other work that you've done this week to me as well. Okay. All right, so that is all for the circle group today. I will see you guys next time. If you have any questions or need help, make sure you dojo message me or email me, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I really enjoyed seeing some of you in Zoom meetings and hope we can get together again real soon. Okay? Goodbye, circle group. I am ready for the group with the square and the diamond. I'm going to hold this up so you will know if you're fast forwarding, it's time for this group story. All right. Okay guys, we are back together again. We've already reviewed our vocabulary words. We know this is informational text. Sometimes it's called expository, which means we're reading a nonfiction text to learn new information. All right, so let's jump on in. You'll be able to hear a lot of these words in our story today. So make sure you have your book out on page 388 and be ready to listen and follow along. Okay. Our story is Butterflies, Big and Small, and we're thinking about how respecting these butterflies can help them to survive. As we read, we'll also see some really good text features. I can tell from this story that these were real photographs. They were taken with a real camera. So somebody did not draw or paint these. These are real. And a lot of them have captions, which these are words that tell you more about the picture. Expository texts also usually have charts or graphs or maps that match the text. So we'll be looking at those too. All right, let's start at the beginning. There are more than 725 species or kinds of butterflies fluttering around the United States and Canada. These fascinating creatures taste leaves with their feet and only see the colors red, yellow, and green. The monarch butterfly and the western pygmy blue butterfly share these same traits, but they are also different in many ways. So you'll see that first sentence where it says there are more than 725 species or kinds of butterflies. That's because species and kinds mean the same thing. So if I said, what kind of dog do you have? Or it means there's different species. They all don't look the same, right? So that's how the butterflies are. There's different kinds of them. So if you see a word like that, that's called using your context clues, where you use other words around it to help you figure out that new word's meaning. And that blue word, fluttering. So think about that. Fluttering means that they're moving their wings quickly. And if you've ever seen a butterfly, you know that is what their wings look like when they're flying. They're very fast. Okay, let's go to size and color. The western pygmy blue butterfly is the smallest butterfly in the world. It is just about a ½ inch across from wing to tip to wing tip. That's smaller than a dime. Monarch butterflies are much bigger. They measure about 4 inches across. So there's our word measure. If you have a measuring tape or a ruler or a tool that you can measure with, you can see the difference in their sizes. A pygmy blue butterfly is a ½ inch, but a monarch butterfly can be 4 inches. So if you have something to measure with, look at that and see the difference. Size is not the only way monarchs are different from pygmy blues. Monarch butterflies are a bright orange color with black markings. That makes them easy to see. Pygmy blue butterflies are mostly brown and blue, and they blend in with their surroundings. Many people walk right by pygmy blues, unaware that they are even there. All right, so that word surroundings, we know it means what's around you. So if they blend in with their surroundings, that means they blend in with what's around. And you guys might already know that word camouflage, where you use the colors or the patterns to blend in, because lots of animals have that, don't they? And so you might have even walked right by a pygmy blue butterfly and never even saw it because it was blending in or camouflaged with its surroundings. All right, there are some really great photographs and captions here. The caption on this page says, "Monarch butterflies like to land in the same trees when they migrate." And we've talked about migrate before, how that means to move from one place to another. And we talk about it a lot in the fall and the winter because that's when lots of animals have to migrate to go to somewhere that's warmer or to a place where they can find food. And this picture, it says the diagram shows the parts of a butterfly, the western pygmy blue butterfly. And you can see the arrows pointing to the parts of its body. There's a wing, antenna, head, thorax, leg, and abdomen. All right, so check those out. And let's go on to the next page where it says moving around. Almost all butterflies migrate or move to different areas. The monarch's journey is the longest migration of any butterfly in the world. It spends summers in the northern United States and Canada. Then it migrates south to Mexico in early fall. Many monarchs travel more than 3,000 miles. Western pygmy blue butterflies inhabit southwestern deserts and marshes from California to Texas. They migrate short distances north to Oregon and also to Arkansas and Nebraska. Both monarchs and pygmy blues migrate. Butterflies are cold-blooded insects. They are hot when the weather is hot and cold when the weather is cold. As a result, monarch butterflies, which live in areas that get cold during winter, migrate south to stay warm. and western pygmy blues journey north to find food. All right. So that word journey means to take a long trip. So these butterflies do have to fly a long way. And this map is a great way to see that. So this is a map of the United States and Canada. And so there were some states that were mentioned in this last paragraph. So you might even be able to find those. But you can see that the orange arrows show that the monarch butterflies have to go down south so they can stay warm in the winter, and the blue arrow shows the pygmy blues have to go up north so they can find food. So both species of butterflies have to migrate. All right, let's go to the part where it says finding food. The western pygmy blue drinks the nectar of many kinds of flowers. It finds the sweet, thick liquid easily, so its population has steadily grown. So that means it's easy for it to find flowers. The nectar is the sweet juice that grows in the flowers. And if they have enough food, then they can continue to grow because they have what they need to survive. However, monarch butterflies are not so lucky. Just like the pygmy blue, monarch butterflies sip nectar from flowers. But the monarch butterfly has one main food requirement, the milkweed. Monarch butterflies must find this plant along their migration route. But what happens if there are no milkweed leaves? So the monarchs have this special kind of flower, the milkweed, and you can even look that up more to see some more plants like that. And a lot of monarch butterflies are not able to find this special flower, so that means that their population will go down because it's harder for them to find food. Let's see why that is. When people build houses and roads, there are fewer places for monarchs to find milkweed. If the monarch cannot find food, its population will decrease. And we know that means it'll go down. So there won't be as many monarch butterflies. The western pygmy blue and monarch butterflies are not endangered or at risk of becoming extinct now, but biologists are worried. So that means these butterflies are not, they're not going to be extinct, which means no longer here, not anytime soon, but a lot of scientists that study the butterflies, they are getting worried that maybe one day these butterflies will be extinct if they can't find enough of the milkweed plant they need to survive. Many other butterflies are endangered because people destroy their habitats. And if they're endangered, that doesn't mean they're extinct yet, but it means there's only a very few that are still alive. Help butterflies. Like all wildlife, monarch and pygmy blue butterflies should be respected. People need to preserve butterfly habitats. To help, they can work to change laws, plant milkweed, and make it illegal to destroy animal habitats. So we know preserve means to keep it safe from harm. So those are some ways that people can keep the butterfly habitat safe by trying to change laws, planting milkweed, and making it illegal to destroy the animal homes. Learning about butterflies and what they need to survive is important. That way there will be plenty of western pygmy blue and monarch butterflies for future generations to enjoy. So that means if we learn what they need to survive and we can help them now, there will still be plenty of butterflies in the future, which we know that means a time that hasn't happened yet. But it's coming, and we want the butterflies to be a part of that. So I'd like for you to think about how can people learn to respect the butterflies. And I'd also like you to think about how these butterflies are alike and different. On tomorrow, day 3, you will get to read the story by yourself, And there are 3 questions here. So go back in your story and underline where you find the answers to these questions. This shows you're using your text evidence. And I wanted you to think how these butterflies are alike and different, because that's what you're writing on day 4. Now, I sent this to your parents in an email, but if you cannot print it out, that's okay. You can write it on any paper that you have at your house. Write 3 ways that the monarch butterfly and pygmy blue butterfly are alike, and write 3 ways that these butterflies are different. And you can write that on any paper, okay? All right, and then make sure that on the last day this week, day 5, you get to go on another virtual field trip and find a new place to visit. And you can either write it on the paper that says Virtual Field Trip 4 that I sent in the email. If you can't print it out, remember you can write it on any kind of paper that you want. All right, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this story. I really like this expository text. I like to learn about animals, so this one was pretty special for me. If you have any questions or need help this week, anytime, make sure your Parents Dojo message me or email me and I'll get back to you. I've really enjoyed seeing some of you through Zoom meetings and hope we'll get to be together again soon. All right, guys, make sure you're getting out, having a good time, and getting some exercise every day too. I will be here if you need me. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.